It always work like that. Comms always fail right before you need them.
Right. Comms, always comms. I'm still
Comms is always. Hey, and Phil, brother, I'm so laid back with all this stuff. I mean, my first introduction to media was Bill O'Reilly's show. If that tells you anything. All right, that was my first show I ever did. And I got to say maybe 2 words, the whole segment.
That's Bill O'Reilly. Well, that's why they call it the Bill O'Reilly show.
Exactly. And so, brother, you're whatever you need to do. I just flow with it.
Here's my Bill O'Reilly story. Not his show, but he and Dennis Miller were touring, and we went down to downtown LA. And I love Dennis Miller. Love his delivery, right, Kat? You know, and anyway, so I kind of went to see that, and so we're having a good time. You know, Bill does his shtick, and then Dennis is doing his, and then they're sitting on these bar stools at the end answering some questions and going back and forth on some stuff. And Bill gets up, does a bit of a rant, drops the mic and walks off and leaves Dennis on the stage. And as a consummate professional in the entertainment industry for however many years, Dennis takes a big breath, he goes, hangs his head, gets up and just waves off. Like the show's over because Bill's cranky and he wants to go home now.
Because Bill's being a baby and needs his bottle again. Yeah.
I'll do it live. Yeah. Okay. Jeez. Really bummed me out because I wanted to see Dennis Miller.
Oh, he's awesome. He was still the best. That was the best Saturday Night Live days. And then he was just tremendous as a correspondent or whatever you want to call him whenever he was on whatever news channels he was on at the time. Fox. I guess he was on more on Fox than anything. But yeah, he was amazing. I loved his delivery too. But yeah, Bill O'Reilly, he was a turd even then. But yeah, bro.
I don't know. That's not fair. I mean, you should ask him what he thinks of himself.
I'm sure he thinks. Yeah, he thinks he's the gift to everybody. Tell you what, though, he is the gift to makeup. That boy, I tell you, he had more makeup on him than.
Really?
What's the preacher's wife, Tammy Faye Baker, who walked in that studio? I looked at him like, oh my gosh, it's caked on. Like, okay, well, I guess this is TV. Yeah, that's how it works. All right, but it was a good, that was fun though in the beginning. That was a fun one to kind of break the ice on because everything else got easier after that one. It was like, everybody was easier, I should say, or at least more accommodating. But it's like anything else with Ranger School. You always get that end doc, and the end doc has to be hard because then it makes everything else easy after it. So it really did. So it was a blessing anyway. And it's Bill O'Reilly's show back in the heyday when he had 8 bazillion viewers.
Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. The mighty have fallen. Yeah. Interesting. Well, you've got a very storied career, and we'll touch on as much of that as you'd like.
Okay.
Sure. And obviously your new ventures, right? And your training and Battleline and E3 and everything else that you're doing. Now, on our text, you said that you do training outside of the Kansas location. Do you ever come out on the West Coast here, Arizona?
We have. We have Rangers out there. I've tried this. I've kind of cut down on it. We did go to Scottsdale a few times, and we have ranges near Phoenix that we've gone to. But it's just taken away from home. A 2-day train for me is 5 days away from home. So it's just it's to say no. I'll say I'm never going to say never. We will, but it's not going to be as often as I used to, just because I enjoy being at home now, and I've missed a lot of time at home. But yeah, we do get out there, and Scottsdale has some great indoor ranges there, and there's also a paintball house that we'll go do protective security detail classes on, PSD classes on, which honestly, those big old paintball houses are the best for that, because you can really, you can see the difference of what when somebody's shooting at you and you're doing it the correct way, and you're doing your movements and protection, how hard it is to actually protect somebody under fire and the skills levels. And you have to have those big indoor facilities so you can simulate walking in urban environments and shoot each other with guns, and not be inside where somebody that doesn't know what's going on doesn't call you out on or think that something crazy is going on. And you did there's one in Phoenix that's amazing. I wish I remember the name of it, but it was huge, just a huge warehouse. It was a complete city, and teaching guys how to walk principles back and forth throughout the city and just multiple attack scenarios, and then dealing with people going down and dealing medical side. It's pretty chaotic, but that's fun. So I don't know. We'll get back. It was fun. So I guess I'm saying it's fun. So yeah, I want to get back out there. I just don't know when that will be. Hopefully soon.
Very cool. And then on E3, we'll get into that and what your ideas are for that. And go. Obviously, well, not obviously, you may not know me very well, but there's a certain person who ran against Donald Trump the first time that is not exactly one of my favorite people on earth. You may not really enjoy her either.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The Wicked Witch of Hope, Arkansas. But I'm not sure how much you want to get into details on that.
Bro, we can talk all that. That's fine. I know. I tell Lou, Lou and I've never worked. Lou works with E3. He's helped out, Desmond, the one that sets us up. And I know he probably works with you quite often since he's in that same area. I just gave him the standing orders because whenever I used to go on Fox, that would predominantly take over the conversation. And honestly, it was making them a ton of money and getting the divisiveness out there. And I was like, guys, I'm not doing that anymore. If you want to ask me some questions, fine, but come on. We beat that horse to death. She's the devil. Yeah, got it. She's probably going straight to hell. Yeah, got it. We don't need to touch on that anymore. Let's get on with everything else.
I'm just wondering when Satan's going to recall her to headquarters.
Here, whenever she passes away, she'll be in judgment, and that's what I said. I'm not too worried about. I don't get upset at it too much anymore because I know she's going to be judged. I'm not even worried about it. And she'll have to pay the piper like everybody is going to have to. And it'll be, I don't know, whenever she passes away, whenever that.
Did they ever figure out why Obama didn't come to the phone that evening?
He did. I think I wrote you an email. I believe he really did go to bed. He had that fundraiser. He was in Vegas the next day. I mean, I think these people realize the reach that we have within just the community and how many people that we know within the community itself that now do other things, primarily security in Las Vegas. So it's not, we know he was there the next day. What we were doing there, it was, Al Qaeda was on the run. Of course, that wasn't the case. Terrorism was on the run. Of course, that wasn't the case. But we were there facilitating the overthrow of Gaddafi to destabilize the whole region. And that was his foreign policy. And that would have, if who's the Utah guy that ran against him? I can't even remember now. Oh my gosh.
Romney.
If he would have hammered that at that time, I really believe he would have won. He just let it go. The foreign policy and us killing indiscriminately with UAVs, which was huge under Obama, and then us using Gaddafi's arms to flow into militias, which later became ISIS, to overthrow Assad. If that would have come out at that time heavier, then people would have really saw what he was, and I think they would have not voted. A lot of the ones that were on the fence would have voted the other way. So it would behoove. It was better just to let us all die and let it all go away, and hopefully go away that way. But they didn't know that they had teams like myself or our team in these areas. That's the arrogance of DC. They think they know everything, but they really don't. So they don't. So it just ended up being where, hey, let's just let them all die, and the problem goes away, and then we just, it's terrorism. But that's.
Then you disappointed them, apparently.
We got lucky and disappointed them. We had a great team, man. So stuff like that we can talk about. There's stuff that's kind of classified or not. It's out there. But I don't have a problem talking about that, because I don't really get angry at it anymore. Just talk about it matter of factly.
So anything, we've been on a recording. Is this all good?
Yeah, this is fine.
Very interesting stuff. I always thought the rumor I heard was that under Gaddafi, there was a lot of surface to air missiles that were in his stash.
Well, there were. There were.
And for whatever reason, they'd sent just a small team out there to try and buy them back from the people that had them. And
we may have been doing that as well. But that's the thing, is a lot of those surface to air missiles would have benefited us as far as their foreign policy at that time. I say us, I mean, I still am an American. I still was serving under the United States government and the auspice of the agency and so forth. So I still, even under that, those SA-7s and all the surface missiles were going to go well in the hands of the militias trying to overthrow Assad in Syria and destabilize the region, all those. So to say that, yeah, we were trying to gather them up, I wouldn't say that we were going to try to destroy them, though. We were just, it's the Iran-Contra affair all over again. So that's why did he go to bed? Because there it is right there, because it was the Iran-Contra affair 2012 is what it was.
And he thought this would just be the closing chapter. You guys are gone. His policy's moving on, continuing to destabilize. Wonderful thing that this man's done. And by the way, we can't say the O word when we're on the air. It sets off my Tourette's. Okay. I've got it under control most of the time, but if someone says that O word, it's hard.
Don't worry about it.
And my engineer Dan's back there hitting the pause button. He's like, dang, his finger wears out. It's a bad scene all the way around.
It's like Voldemort. Can't say Voldemort, dude. Can't say it. They'll say it. But all that stuff was in one thing I did learn, even with the Bush, because I'm the same. I didn't think we should have went to Iraq either. Granted, I was there and I worked there for years. And I loved what I did. That was the early days of contracting. I really enjoyed my job. I enjoyed the guys. I didn't necessarily believe that we should have been in there. But that being said, that learning from Iraq to Libya to Yemen, I was in Yemen after Libya, and I was part of that debacle where we just cut and ran. I just know we don't overthrow dictators. Dictators, sometimes the evil you know is better than the evil you don't. And dictators are like that for a reason. Gaddafi, yeah, he's evil, but damn, every terrorist in the world was scared as hell to be in Libya, because if he found a terrorist, an Al-Qaeda, an Ansar Sharia, an ISIS in his country, he was giving them to his female guards, and they were going to have their way with them, and not in a good way. And so that is one thing I did learn over those 10 years of working overseas, and then Benghazi itself, and then other places that I worked in, is that leave countries alone. I'd be like Reagan. If a country hits us, we go in there, whoever that is, we bomb the living shit out of them, like he did to Gaddafi. Excuse my language, you had to beat that. Bomb the living crap like he did to Gaddafi. There you go. And then we leave the country and say, here you go. Here you go. Don't do it again.
And the best part about that particular raid, when Gaddafi got his upcomings, was, it was in the time of smart bombs, mid 80s, and France would not give us clearance to fly through France. Yeah. But apparently one accidental bomb hit the French embassy. Did you know that?
It's so shocking how that works. So
our pilots were a little too tired from flying around France to be really accurate when they got there.
It ceases to amaze me that things that we do as far as the United States government and always can say it's a training exercise, or it's an accident or something else. But yeah, that's one thing we're Benghazi in itself, and even all the other countries I've been in. And I know some of your listeners are probably going to disagree with me on the Iraq thing. Hey, man, I lived there. I worked there for 3-4 years, although actually longer than that, because I worked up in Kurdistan and Mosul as well, in the northern parts. Jeez. But Benghazi was very, very late in my career. I've been 10 years overseas before that even happened, which I think is a blessing. God said, hey, you need to get your salt, worth your weight in salt first, and get salty before I'm going to throw you to the wolves. Okay, you're good. Let's go. Now you're ready for that. But being said, just learning that countries, we don't need to overthrow countries. We don't need to go in there. And it's not because of oil or this, or it's really is more control and just power.
It's an ideology.
And so it is.
And working there all of those years, if you really thought that this particular representative government is the best and you wanted to export it to other areas, if that's really what your goal was, you have to realize that there are certain ideologies that don't mix well with that.
What is?
And if you've got an entire ideology running an entire country, you can't put representative democracy in there. It just doesn't work. It's strongman.
No, and it never will work.
A fourth grader can decide that. Why our State Department is doing what they're doing, I really have no idea.
I'm working with the State Department even before I worked with the agency. And that's not people the background. I was a State Department contractor before I was a CIA contractor with Blackwater. I actually ran the ambassador's detail to Iraq, Ambassador Zalmay Khalilzad. I was his detail leader of his entire security detail to the highest ranking diplomat in Iraq for quite some. So I learned the ins and outs of State Department. And what I found the State Department is they're not always the sharpest tools in the shed when it comes down to it. And they disguise diplomacy over power and control. I mean, that's what it is. Part of the reason Benghazi was going to happen too is Hillary was going to come in as a diplomatic thing. And this is why the Ambassador Stevens was officially in Benghazi that night, is the State Department thought it was brilliant to open an American corner, an English speaking school in Benghazi. And let's bring Hillary in to christen this school with the gentleman that was going to open it, the Libyan, he was the one Libyan who saved the one pilot that we had shot down in Libya at the time during the overthrow. And again, not a lot of smart moves, especially when their RSOs, the regional security officers, their own State Department security staff and us were telling them, no, we do not have this place locked in. This is not safe. Do not do this. Well, what are we going to do? It's going to show good. It's going to help us win the polls. It's going to help me win the election. Safety? I'm not too worried about safety.
She's worried about her safety. She's not worried about your safety.
Our safety.
I mean, frankly, at this point, Senator,
I know and that's what it is. What difference does it make? But it definitely makes a difference. And as far as lives that are saved and lives that are lost, but really, it comes down again where State Department really, it's less about safety is the last of their concern. And that's how it was when we were working. We were just kicking ourselves a lot of times just to get the right vehicles so we would be safe in cities. Or the first time I was in Iraq, we didn't even have enough weapons. We were trading weapons with DynCorp. A team would come in, he'd hand me his M4. I'd say, thank you. And then I'd go do my op. We didn't have enough guns. We were buying guns locally just so we had enough arms. That's State Department for you. And that's their mentality. And it's diplomacy, it's politics, but it's the bad diplomacy. It's not really the winning of hearts and minds. It's the diplomacy of what's going to look good on the mainstream media, what's going to look good on TV.
In Washington,
exactly. And what's going to get me elected or to the next ladder, not safety and not guys that are actually out there putting their lives on the line to protect theirs. Yeah, bro. And that honestly, that's even Benghazi in a nutshell right there as well. That's Libya in a nutshell. But that being said, people can, why'd you keep doing it? Why'd you keep doing it? Well, I enjoyed it. It was fun. You're a bit of a adrenaline junkie, which of course I used to be, and not so much anymore. I'm pretty laid back now, but that adrenaline gets fed, and you do with the people that you work with, the guys that you have surrounding you, even if you like them on a personal level or not, you don't get that trust anywhere else. You don't get that feeling of, man, he may not like me, but I know he's going to take that bullet for me if I need it, and I will do the same. It's just you don't get that feeling anywhere else, and it's hard to.
The stakes aren't that high. In business, the stakes aren't that high. Well, sometimes, but
sometimes, but that's why I kept doing the job, and I enjoyed it, and it was fun.
You're a warrior. You were built for that. Let's get the show started here. So we'll kick it off. And those people watching the YouTube channel got all the pregame, which is
is this hey, hi guys. I dance for you right now, but I'm getting too old. I might break a hip. Sorry, y'all.
Well, like I used to. We do a pants check. If you're gonna be on the YouTube channel, just wear your pants. That's all we ask for.
Am I wearing? Yeah, I'm good.
I don't want to see it. Just in case you forgot. I don't want to know.
That's hilarious, man. I got them on. They're silkies though, because I'm going running, and I still wear my Ranger panties. I don't care what they're the most couple things to run in. Whoever's watching, you can. I don't care what I would say. You're gonna have to beep this. Right? No, I won't do that to you. I don't care what you say. I'm still wearing my Ranger panties. They are the most comfortable things on the boys when you're going running. You always got to.
The problem is it's the same set you've had for 13 years.
What? Well, you didn't have to say that. I didn't say they smelled nice. I just said they're comfortable. I mean, I don't care what I smell like. I smell myself for 51 years. I'm okay with I've become acclimated to my odor. So I'm good.
Good. All right, Dan, you want to start us off?
TMI. That's all I can say. Yeah, here we go.
Good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Hello, folks. Welcome to another edition of Firing Line Radio Show. This is Philip Naiman. Hope you're having a great day out there. And a couple of weeks ago, I had Kerry Shuck on from Kerry Trainer, and I introduced him and I said he's a very special guest. And he grilled me and he says, "Well, aren't all your guests special?" And so I'm opening up this show to let Kerry know that I have a more special guest than him on today. So Kerry, you get what you ask for there, folks. And who am I going to introduce to you but none other than Kris Tanto Paronto. You all have met him, or not met him, but you've seen him. You've probably seen some of his talks on YouTube, his trainings. Obviously, if you're familiar with the story of what happened on September 11th, 2012 in Benghazi, this was a gentleman who was there on the foot. And if you just listen to our radio show right now, check out the YouTube channel, because we have a little bit of pregame on there that he kind of told you what really happened out there. And I absolutely believe it. The one thing he left out is I think the president who went to bed early was actually with somebody that he shouldn't have been, but that's just a rumor.
You know what? I learn more stuff every day too. I'm continually learning. So if you know something, and believe me, I would love to know that, because that is something I don't know.
There's only one reason he wouldn't have been waking up in something like that. Anyway, we're moving on.
Okay. he was pulling a John F. Kennedy with his Marilyn Monroe, or what?
Probably more like Truman Capote.
Wow. I didn't know that. Well, that's what, you know what? Maybe
rumors.
We'll talk.
Exactly.
I don't know that. I've never heard that before, but that's something I would still like to digest and see. Hey, I said, like I tell everybody out there and everybody I talk to, I am learning more and more every day, even from people that were on the ground that I didn't know. And it's been it's been 10 years now.
10 years. Be 10 years this September. Yeah.
Yep.
So while you were out there fighting for your life, the State Department was letting you swing in the wind, right?
Well, that's typical state. And if you got the pregame guys, that's State Department. The guys that work within the security department, within the State Department, they're great. The State Department head shed and the Roslyn community up there, I would say integrity. I've got more in my pinky finger than they have, and just the tip of my pinky finger than they have.
The dirt on the tip of
the
your
dirt, exactly, the dirt. So, but you know what? That's I hate to say it, but that's State Department, and that's how it's always been. And I've been around them since 2003, working with them before I even went to the agency. So is what it is.
Well, you've been busy since you've been back.
Yeah.
Definitely. Written a couple of books. So yeah. I'd like to start. Well, we'll get to the Benghazi story, but I need to tease that out a little bit, right? Some people think that they know it all, and I can't tell the whole thing in the first segment of the show. But what I do want to do is show some more depth for Kris Tanto Pronto than you might obviously know. Yeah. So one of your books, Patriots Creed.
That was the third book. The 13 Hours, of course, was the first one, which we wrote. We just couldn't. It was the most silly thing with the CIA clearance board. We could put our names in the book, but we couldn't put it on the cover. Whatever. That's government again for you. Government at its best. But then the Ranger Way and the Patriots Creed was the third one, the most recent one that I wrote, and actually came out. Great way to time it. It came out during the COVID pandemic. What a great way great time to release a book when you can do no book signings, no physical promotion, nothing. But I was extremely happy with that book. Yeah, I'm very happy how it came out, and now people are starting to figure, hey, he's got another book out there. So
no, well, what I like about the Patriots Creed is it's not, it's not me. No, it's
that's all. I appreciate that. Philip, that's what I did that third one, because there's, and right for you, there should be. There's a lot of great operator books out there. even if you want to call yourself the operator, if you can go get his book, if you'd like to, that's fine. Rob's an all right guy. But the thing is that there were so many of those books out there. And I wrote one, The Ranger Way, which I would see more as a self-help book than look what I've done sort of book. But I'd served with so many guys, and I'd known some of these people and their stories that I thought were just as courageous, or if not even more so than the story that happened to us in Benghazi. I'm like, well, they don't have a platform. Why don't I still have a platform, at least a little one? Let's utilize that to tell their stories and also to make it relatable. I think there's people out there within that aren't in the military community, or especially haven't been in the special operations community, that think there is some special gene that none of us have hardships. None of us go through just life trials and tribulations. And I wanted to say, hey, yeah, we do. I mean, there's one story about Ben Morgan in their 1st Ranger Battalion who battled alcoholism. We all have these demons. Every one of us has them. And just because somebody served or is with the SEALs or Rangers or Force Recon or is a combat controller doesn't mean that they don't go through hardships as well and have to overcome them. So it really was a self-help book to not just get other guys' stories out there, but to say, hey, we all have issues that we need to get over. We all have obstacles that we hit. And this is how we can still accomplish them. This is how I think veterans can really help out, is put their stories out there of overcoming obstacles and adversity and perseverance. And that's really what the Patriots Creed was all about. It was just that. And I had some little blips in there with some other stuff I've done over the years, but it really was, I'm glad you caught that, because that's exactly what it was for. It was everybody else, not me. There's so many outstanding stories.
You've got your own stories, books, and movies. You've done enough. But I mean, the other part is that you brought in, like the 7 values of the Army.
Of course.
Right? And then how did those apply in these situations? And I just think that that's refreshing, because even the title, the Patriots Creed, do we not have one? Are we not patriots? What do we stand for? What does that mean? We take an oath. If you're in the military, or if you're in law enforcement, or frankly, you should take an oath as a citizen. But we take an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies, foreign and in the State Department. I mean, domestic.
They're part of that. They're part of the State Department. I think with that, I threw God and faith in there a lot. And at that time, and even still, I still talk a lot about God. Very important. Faith is very important. I wanted to throw those values in there because, being a patriot and serving your country, well, you're also serving a higher power. And
well, yeah, let's talk about it. Develop that a little further here. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, I saw a lot, and I worked alongside Muslims. I fought alongside agnostics, other people with other religions. And when it all came down to it, it was the values and virtue that kept us together. And I think we were losing a lot of that when I started writing the book. I know I had lost and I had found it. And those Army values aren't just values that help within the military. You learn them within the military. They're values that we should hold every day and that give us virtue. And, I think if more people were virtuous, we need less laws. Man's laws are out there because we don't have virtue. If we had virtue, we don't need man's laws anymore. But it was my way of not just, I saw I was accomplishing a third thing trying to write that book, saying, hey, everybody, you know what? I lost my way. I found it through God, through faith, through these values in the Army that they taught me that really applied more to even just virtues and the commandments in the Bible, all those things, integrity, honor, integrity, moral courage that you find in integrity, that you find in duty. And that needs to be said, because we need to put that out there, because people are starting to lose their ways a bit. So to me, when I wrote the Patriots Creed, that was the third asset getting in the book, was just saying, hey, we're losing our values, and in turn we're losing virtue, and in turn of that we're losing faith, and we're losing our faith in God and living what's right. And now we're trying to tell our government, hey, you need to install more laws to control us, when honestly we can control ourselves if we just would live the right way. And the right way is living with those values and with God. And here's an example of guys that didn't, and then they did, and they fixed their lives. And shocker.
The reason our society works at whatever level we're at today is because we self-control. somebody with the training that you have, if they went off the rails, it would be an absolute nightmare. But you have that training, but you have that control. Why? Because you have absolutes in your life. You answer to a higher power. We're not squirrels in a cage. And that is why America works, or has worked up to this point anyway. We look at some of these things, this mass shooting in Uvalde, we had an ambush here in Southern California, 2 police officers killed. The guy's got a rap sheet, longer than your laundry list. And, first thing they come out to is the mother says this, the grandmother says this. And I always want to ask this question. I said, hey, what does the dad say? Oh, wait, there isn't one. Every one of these cases, right? And so it's a breakdown of the family. It's a breakdown of the human heart. And I'm going to wrap us up here real quick with the answers to the world. Well, actually, I'm going to make you wait till the second segment. Folks, this is Philip Naiman here with Kris Tanto, Pronto, E3Firearms Association.com. We'll be right back after this.
Okay.
All right.
Right. There's one in the can.
Cool. Yeah, that's all. I saw virtue coming back in my life, and that's what helped me get my life back in order, because I was off the rails for a little bit too. Not off the rails trying to hurt myself, but off the rails as far, that's what it was.
An unhealthy headspace.
Well, you are survival's guilt a bit, but also starting to believe your own BS, being on TV and doing commercials and all that. You really start to, it feeds your ego and you lose your humility.
Did you use as much makeup as Bill O'Reilly?
No, Bill. Oh my gosh. I don't think anybody could use as much makeup as Bill O'Reilly. Maybe Nancy Pelosi. I think those two are probably competing with each other right there.
I can't read it. There's no words on it. There's no words there. I don't know what that means. We'll do it live. Okay.
Well, how about this one? How about the, I saw a picture the other day of Dianne Feinstein when she was mayor and Dianne Feinstein now, right? And this was posted by a group called Millennial Republicans. And I responded, this is millennial old Democrats.
Gee, I gotta look at that picture. I can't even imagine.
Oh my gosh. Well, like Nancy, the Crypt Keeper. I mean, oof. They're all in their 80s. They all think that they're
well, when you become untouchable like that, you're going to think you're untouchable, and especially if it's gone on for years, you've lost all sense of reality. You're living in a bubble. They live in a bubble, and we've said it time and time again. They're not into touch.
That the one lust that people never lose is the lust for power, and that seems to be it. Which I don't understand it, but that seems to be where they're at. Okay, let's pick it up with our second segment here.
You got it, brother.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this? This is my boomstick.
Hey, folks, welcome back to Firing Line Radio Show. I'm here with Kris Tanto, Paronto. Now, we had a great section on the first session. If you missed it, go back and listen. Get the podcast at firinglineradio.com or check us out on a YouTube channel on, strangely enough, Firing Line Radio. Kris, since he's been back from the Benghazi debacle caused by a terrible policy in our State Department with guilty parties of the president at that time. We cannot say his name on the air because it does set off my Tourette's, and this is family friendly radio. So the president that shall not be named and his Secretary of State, the Wicked Witch of Hope, Arkansas, these people hung a small team out to dry because they felt that their policies were so egregious. If they came to light, it'd be better if there weren't any witnesses. Kris, that can I wrap that up there?
I would, after everything that I've found out since 9/11, 2012, I would say that's pretty dang accurate. I would never have thought that, especially serving at the time.
Well, when you're there on the ground, you wouldn't believe that they're doing that to you.
Yeah, after everything, all the hearings, everything that's come out there, speaking to guys on the ground, and I believe politicians don't understand the connection or don't realize great connection we have with each other on the ground, of guys knowing who's here, having a buddy that was here, having a buddy in this unit that was there waiting, knowing somebody in Delta, and we all talk, because every one of them, especially those that were going to come and they couldn't come, they hold themselves accountable. I don't think politicians see that either. Even just because the guys on the ground were affected doesn't mean that that's the only troops that were affected. The people that were trying to come, the troops that were trying to come that weren't allowed to, or were told not to, and then found out later what had happened, they suffer too with some post-traumatic stress, because they do feel responsible. It's like, why? We could have helped, we could have done something. But that's the mentality of people that serve. It's like, you are putting yourself first. You're willing to sacrifice yourself. You're that John 15:13, that love is no greater than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. I mean, that's why guys serve. So there's the repercussions that politicians don't see, that the intangibles that they never see because they've never served, they have no idea. It affects, and it just trickles down to thousands of guys that are like, oh my gosh. And I'm saying thousands because there was that many units and people that were listening and watching and that couldn't do a thing. And it affects them for the rest of their life because they feel responsible. And I'm telling you guys, you're not. You did what you did. You were just waiting for the go order and you didn't get it. But that's the true mind state of a warrior as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, a fish stinks from the head. Yeah,
it definitely does. But
that's a stinky.
It's a stinky fish. It is. But that being said, Libya and stuff was a learning experience, and it was a tremendous experience, and I'd go back to do it again because it was a tremendous experience about leadership and learning about oneself and faith and having faith and overcoming adversity all in one night and never giving up. You never quit fighting, you keep going. And that one night, there was one time that night where it's like, man, they're going to come over these walls eventually, and getting in the right mindset and I've never had to go hand to hand with somebody on the battlefield. Training, sure. And having a knife and having to maybe have to use an edged weapon to kill somebody. That is the experience all in itself, just getting in that right mindset, because that's intimate. Shooting a terrorist, and I'm not trying to take it lightly. It just is what it is. You're shooting, you're killing somebody that's trying to kill you. It's to say it's easy. I'm going to say it's easy, but it's not as intimate as it is when you're thinking, man, I may have to stab this guy and win this fight right up close and personal,
because they were coming in so close, or you guys were out of bullets.
Either, and that was what was going to end up. Either they were going to get that close, or we're going to run out of ammo. And just getting in that mindset that you have to go to that point, that's something in and of itself, just to think that.
And the State Department did not issue broadswords, did they?
No, we didn't have any broadswords. So no, just a little Gerber.
But it's in your it's in your kit for next time, isn't it? Just because you learn a little bit every time. Oh,
I've got my machete. My machete is ready to go if I need it. I got my big machete ready to go, man. But it's just like it all, even with it all, and as far as the government goes, yeah, I don't think very much of them anymore. I never really did anyway. Well,
that's called experience.
That's wisdom, but being there with those guys and that team, it did teach me a lot, and really seeing heroism at its finest. I mean, and that is watching someone who's willing to give their lives, and then they do it, and me watching it is something I'll never forget, and it just puts things in perspective.
Yeah,
for my life. And it's also, again, like why I wrote those other books too, it was perspective. It's like, man, failing. Well, why did I fail these years before Benghazi? So when Benghazi happened, I didn't fail. So I learned, I overcome. A Patriots Creed. We fail. We go through hardships. Holy crap, these other guys overcame these hardships. So again, it's overcoming failure to be successful and to be stronger. And that's essentially what
absolutely.
What it is.
Well, let's skip forward now. Okay. You've got some new ventures going on, which I think are pretty exciting, right? E3 Firearms Association. Folks, if you haven't heard about it before, go to E3 Firearms, plural, because you can't have just one. E3 Firearmsassociation.com. Start off, what do the E's stand for?
Education, entertain, and empower. And I know they're in different orders, but that's what empower, educate, and entertain. However you want to slice them up. But what that means, and that's what the membership is so different than other tactical training companies and other companies out there that do the firearms training, is that, they all educate, but I don't think they teach the empowerment that you get having a firearm, knowing how to shoot, just the confidence, even if you have it on you. I think you know this just as good as I do, even if you don't have that gun on you, just having that confidence that you overcame something that really is an inherently dangerous object if it's not put in the right hands. And you've learned how to overcome that fear of shooting it. So now you have that confidence that I can take care of myself. But then also the entertainment aspect of it. And that's doing the fireside chats after we do a shooting. How many times, guys, and I remember just being on the range, even at Blackwater. Yeah, it's just, hey, let's sit and just chat, having food catered in. We had something down here, the E3 Firearms and Fort Scott Munitions and also custom guns came and sponsored, where we did a copper ticket giveaway. It was great. And we had fun shooting, but it was the eating with each other after, the hanging out, and just, going in and it's doing little tricks of the trade with other instructors and other mentors. I hate calling them influencers. I hate that word. Mentors out there, like with guys from Guns Out TV.
I think the classification for influencer or versus mentor is if your belly button is showing.
That's it. And their belly buttons, their belly buttons aren't showing. But having guys from Guns Out TV that come in and taking time with an individual to just really have that one-on-one exposure with them and learning from them, and having the ability to just do other things outside of the firearms once the training is done. And that's the entertainment part. And also, hanging out with me is kind of cool every once in a while.
It's very cool. Very cool. So let's take a quick look here. How does the membership work?
Well, membership, we've got the front of the line right now. You sign, you go in there, and then when the membership pops, when we're able to do signups, of course you sign up, and really it is a paid membership. So there you have to go on there and register. And once it pops up, then you're entitled to whatever tier level you are as far as what we have to offer. And that's, part of that too is also online classes. And then doing the little podcast or little hip pocket training that myself and Adam Painshot, who's the other co-founder, is a tremendous instructor, do. And that is just based on what the memberships are, the membership levels. And it really depends on the experience that you want. And then Oswald too is just coming out and training with not just me, but other instructors, luckily, that I've been able to work with that I believe have that same mindset of, hey, we're here to train, but we're also here to make it fun, make it non-intimidating. Come on out, let's learn it. Those are instructors that we'll put out there too. So if you are not in an area and you can't come train with me, well, here's another guy. If you're in the Chicago area, here's a guy in Florida that has that same mindset, and that at the end of the day, you'll walk off the range feeling not that you just accomplished something, but feeling, man, that was fun. I had a great time. That 2A community is outstanding. And it is. Go on that website and just checking those out, and then seeing the little videos that you'll do with me explaining not just tips, but even just talking like we are today, doing a little hip pocket training of talking about overcoming adversity and doing some self-help. And that's part of it as well. And I don't think you get a lot of that out there from other organizations. I know I haven't seen it. And I've worked with a lot of other organizations out there, and even have my own training called Battleline Tactical. And we stop at the training side where E3 members take it to another level. And then of course, discounts on everybody, greater discounts that you can't get with other organizations that are partners with E3 Firearms Association. Fort Scott Munitions, is, to give an example, is one of them. Just to give you just to name drop one, and they make the best ammo, my opinion, in the country. So
okay, so let's talk about you doing a relaunch. What does that mean?
Well, they had it going, and if we got time, I know we might have to cut to commercial here, but if we got time, what that means is that I spoke, and there's a long story behind it. Maybe we want to talk about when we come back, because there's a little story behind the relaunch.
We'll do that.
that goes with it.
Well, I'm taking the cues from my guest here, folks. Philip Naiman, Flying Line Radio Show. We'll be right back after this. I didn't see. I'm
sorry, brother.
No, you're good. You saved me because I didn't. I was messing with the screen. I didn't see his chat come through. Yeah, thank you.
And I just saw it right at the end. But yeah, there is a story on that. And if your YouTube channel's up, we'll go a little bit. But I spoke at their conference a couple years ago, and
E3
at the E3 Association conference, the big conference that has all the outdoor stuff. E3's Overland. It's not just firearms; it's everything outdoor. That's the big. And after I spoke at their conference, then Brian Johnson said, "Hey, E3 Firearms, Adam's not able to do as much as we need to. He's because of his day job. Adam still works as a trooper in the East Coast. said, can you come on and be a co-founder? And then you've got more time, and I do. And this is literally what you do now. Can you come in and help relaunch E3 Farms to make it bigger, to get us, because I don't think it's as large as the other branches, the overland, the off-roading, the camping. So that's what the relaunch is. But going into the story helps out a bunch. It helps me tell it a little bit better, but how we got into it. But that's essentially what the relaunch is. It's that I'm just come on and join Adam to get it going again. Hey, let's try this again and try it in a different way. And now with me, I have more time to put into it than Adam really does.
Let's bring up the other sections too of E3, because that's important.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I do. Even if people don't want to join the E3 Farm side, if they like camping, RVing, overlanding, off-roading, then there's that as well. So, man, I just want people to be outside and enjoy the great outdoors, whether it's with firearms or with fishing. I love both. So, if they sign up for the firearm side, that's great. If they don't, they sign up for the overland side, I think that's a win as well, in my opinion.
Why not do both?
Yeah.
Got to pick it up.
Do you want me to start us? Do you want me to continue on and take?
Dude, you got it. You figured out the format.
I'm kidding.
The only success I have in this show is to get better guests. So hey, I'm doing great today. I'll just sit back here. Have a latte.
A latte. You got a latte? Oh my gosh.
No, my drive.
All right.
I drink coffee.
That's all right.
Heavy.
I got my car heavy cream with 2 half.
This was this morning.
Oh my gosh. I know my macchiato. I got my 2 half pumps of creamer in there. I tell you what, I got my coffee too. Good deal.
All right, Big Dan.
Going?
I don't know. Let's see if the producer's falling asleep again. Dan, you there?
Spartans! Lay down your weapons! Come and get them!
Hey folks, Moulin Labe Saturday. Hope you're having a great day out there. I am having a great show here. At least I think it is. And it's not because of me. It's because I got Kris Tanto Paronto on the air with me. He's an author of 3 fantastic books. He's a survivor of a debacle caused by the ex-president and the Wicked Witch of the State Department. We've talked about that the first couple of segments. If you haven't heard it, we're not going to rehash it right here, but go back and check us out on our podcast, firinglandradio.com, or on our YouTube channel. And you got more than enough there to get the whole story on what's going on there. So we're talking now about the new ventures. All right. Yeah. So life moves on, right? Learning.
You do. And training has always been part of me. I trained when I was a GRS guy, which was what we were in Benghazi, global response staff, or even as a contractor. I would come home and I was an instructor at Blackwater as well. So it's not like, I think there's some producers out there. I'm glad you guys aren't this. Dan, I'm glad you are not like this as well. But there are some producers that see a veteran teaching, like, oh, here comes another veteran that's going to try to be an instructor. Well, I've been an instructor for 20 some years and teaching people within the agency and within the State Department itself how to defend themselves. So it was just, honestly, it was pretty seamless for me to decide, well, I'm out. I still enjoy shooting, obviously enjoyed firearms. I've been instructing forever. Aside from contracting, it seemed like a seamless way to go. So I did that 4 years ago with Battleline, and then the E3 members popped up. M3 Firearms Association popped up last year. So God works in mysterious ways. He just puts things in front of you and say, here, give it a try. All right, let's experience this. Let's see how it goes.
So E3 Firearms, we talked about educate, empower, and eradicate when it comes to firearms, right?
No, not eradicate. No, no way, never.
But there's other parts to E3. It's a pretty big company and it's a big membership. So tell us a little about the other parts.
Well, the other parts, you've got the overland part. You've got, which is, if you don't know overland, it's people that like to get in their Jeeps and drive under dirt roads across the country and just like to camp in weird places. And I have buddies that love doing that. But they have sent me pictures and they do camp in some really cool places that you you wouldn't be able to see from the interstate. So
there's not a ranger there taking $10 a night at the campsite.
No, there's no. So, but a lot of people enjoy that. I don't know. I don't know if I do anymore. I think I like my bed, but that's all right. But people love that. And then there's the off-roading side, which is getting in your cars and you're in those vehicles and going up cliffs and down cliffs, and that's exciting as well. And then there's the RVing side, which that's more my style of if I'm going to travel. Hey, I'm going to stay in a nice RV. Let's enjoy it. Tailgating. And then you have, you've got the camping side, which is, and then there's also bringing on aviation and fishing as well. But then we've got the firearm side. But if you haven't noticed the relationship here, it's all outdoors. It's being outdoors. It's enjoying the outdoors, enjoying nature, and seeing the beauty of what really God's given us, and seeing it from that perspective of whatever you enjoy doing. And with me, that's firearms. Being outside and shooting. Tomorrow, I'm going to go outside and shoot. I'm going to run outside, PT a little bit while I'm shooting, and be around the birds and the bees and the trees and the sun. It's wonderful. It's so therapeutic doing that.
Absolutely. And so, how does one become a member?
I just go to the E3. I would recommend, even though probably Brian, the owner of E3 Association, is going to kill me for this, I would recommend to go to the E3
well,
Association.
He can try. I think you're kind of hard. You're kind of hard to squish.
He's going to yell at me lots, but I think I'll be all right. I would say go to e3association.com, and then you have a chance to look at all the different things they come to offer. My opinion, I would say go with the E3 firearms, but yeah, I lean towards the firearms side. It's just me. I'm that way. So, but look at that. And then if you want to become a member, there's links there to go ahead and sign up for, to be front of the line, because we're relaunching, like we were talking about before we left, relaunching that soon. So you can go and be front of the line. So when the membership tiers start to drop and we put them out there, you'll get an email alert and it'll say, hey, do you still want to sign up? And then you can just pick which one on the relaunch. And I think we're still a couple weeks away from that. But again, I ain't the boss. I'm the boss of maybe E3 Farms with Adam Paintshot, but I ain't the boss of the E3 Association. So whenever Brian says, hey, we're doing it, that's when we'll do it. But I know it's coming up soon. And the relaunch, reason we're doing the relaunch is just because I was able to come on and join Adam to become one of the co-founders of it now. So it had been there for a while. I hadn't been a part of it. So now that I came on with Adam to be a partner with Adam Paintshot, who's a tremendous instructor in his own right, is like, well, let's relaunch it because we got somebody new coming on. And that's essentially it. That's what.
So let's talk about the training opportunities.
Sure.
So has Battleline kind of slowed down and now you're doing just E3 or what?
No, Battleline is going to be, and my instructors, and I have some tremendous instructors, some little fire breathers out there. Remind me of myself when I was 30. I can't do that anymore. A guy named Jesse Finley. If you haven't followed him on Instagram, I would. He's a tremendous instructor. Michael Billings is another one, tremendous instructor. And then my buddy, Ben Morgan, who also runs I have a vodka line called Tono Vodka. I mentioned that. But Ben is a first Ranger back guy, triple canopy contractor. Battleline will be one of the training, if not the primary training element for E3 Firearms Association.
Do you do cigars? Because we've got the firearms, you got a vodka line. You're out. So are we going to do ATF? We need tobacco on this.
We got to have the tobacco.
I'm an ATF contractor, alcohol, tobacco, firearm. Got them all covered.
I'm working on that. We are working on that. So yes, there will be. We're working on it, and we'll make sure as soon as it pops. Believe me, you'll know. But I seriously, I thought the same thing. Like, man, why don't we have cigars? Right? I wish it was as easy as it was. Hey, can you make me some? You know what? It's not as easy. And honestly, we want to get
like the old T-shirt that says ATF should be a convenience store.
Convenience store. I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. So we will have our own ATF convenience store. Hopefully, eventually. Can you use Lee twice? The Lee.
We can. We can. On my show, we can do whatever we want. Because frankly, at this point, what difference does it make?
I got the drum. Got that. Yeah, that's. But what people are seeing here with us, you and I talking is how it is with the training as well. I think and that's what E3 Farms more than anything is going to pride itself on, and Battleline already does, and Batteline's carrying that into E3 Farms, is that we have fun. There's a time to yell and there's a time to scream and there's a time to put pressure on people. And that's when you're going through in-doc processes. That's when you're going through ranger assessment selection phase. That's when you're going through buds. That's when you're going through ranger school. People coming in to train and want to train, they're going to learn more and they're going to get more of that experience if they're having a good time. And that is something that I saw being an instructor outside and through all the stuff I've been through as an instructor. And then you're going through courses as well that there isn't enough of. There's not enough smiling in firearms training in the 2A community. Hey, I know how to shoot a gun. Cool. That doesn't make me any cooler than anybody else. I'm still a goof. Hey, come on, let's come learn with me. Let's enjoy it. If you make a mistake, all right, we're still going to be safe out here. Let's readjust. Let's fix that mistake. Let's still smile about it. So at the end of the day, you're walking off happy.
Well, I think the other important thing is to quantify the value of the instructor. I think that an instructor is magnified by the number of 511 apparel clothings they are wearing at the same time. So if you just have one piece on, well, you're a 511. If you have, say, pants and a shirt on, you're a 1022. You know, if you're really good, you're a 1533. You know, you have to quantify exactly how serious this guy is.
That is exactly, if you watch a lot of my training stuff, and I do this on purpose. That's why I'll come out in basketball. I'll come out in Nike basketball high tops and they'll be blue or they'll be red, or it's to come out and say, okay, guys, you don't have to be all cool guy. In fact, don't do the tactical cool stuff. You don't need it. Come on, just put some shoes on. Let's go out and shoot. And even if you look flamboyant, can I say flamboyant? I mean, it is that month. Okay, I know if you look flamboyant, you can still you still can learn how to shoot. You still
Camouflage.
can be effective.
It's camouflage.
And well, it's city camouflage.
Exactly.
But I when I do that and people come out, it really does take the edge. I can see some people that may be stressed or not knowing what to expect. I'll walk out, they'll see the smile. And my instructors are the same way. I'll see the smile, they'll see the shoes, and they'll be like, oh man, yeah, you know what? This is gonna be a good day.
It was the red nose that sold me.
It was. I've got that too.
Honk, honk. Hey folks, Philip Naiman Firing Line Radio Show. Check out e3firearmsassociation.com for Kris Tanto Paronto's deal. We'll be right back after this.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is our last segment. Is there anything special you want to make sure we cover from here?
I think we're good. You know, we've got the, you know, we've hit E3 enough. Now, whatever you want to flow into, you know, we have a podcast. We can talk about podcasting, the importance of it if you want to. I have my own podcast, but E3 will also have its own podcast as well. So I think that's important since that's a big deal nowadays, getting people into podcast. Yeah, I do. And especially in the 2A community, because that's how we get our information out better. Because
it ain't on the news. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to do that, so talk about. I think that's always important.
Where's your podcast at? Sorry, I didn't know that.
No, it's actually based out of. I do my right here in my home is where I do it at. My engineer, the guy, he's from Andrew Wilkow show. Actually, I love it. Ian Scotto. He's based out of Long Island, so we do it there. But yeah. So
how do they get it?
Just it's on anything they can, and we have a YouTube channel as well. So every streaming app and the YouTube channel. So
right.
Yep. And then also we can flow into the if you don't mind, flow into the E3, because that's one thing we'll be doing as well as E3 podcasts as well. I think that's why Brian probably brought me on is because I already had a lot of these things. So really a lot of the Battleline stuff is just going to kind of morph into the E3 farms. We'll still have separate, but we've already got all that going on.
Why reinvent it? Yeah.
If you don't need to. And yeah, having a guy like Ian's my Dan. I mean, and Ian, I made him doing when I used to do Andrew Wilkow's and David Webb shows all the time because he was their engineer. And when he said, hey, you want to do a podcast? I don't have to do anything. He knows what he's, I mean, come on, I got a Sirius XM All-Star. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Do I have to do anything? Nope. Just show up. Okay. Sounds good to me. And it's been going since then. So yeah, brother.
All right.
Take
it home, Dan.
Yes. Great hunter. Yes. Fine figure of a man. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That is all you need to know for now.
Hey folks, welcome back to Firing Line Radio Show. I'm here with Kris Tanto. Pronto. Kris, I don't think you can, you didn't catch that quote where it's from.
That one I did, because the first two are Army of Darkness, one of the greatest man shows ever. That is toxic masculinity right there. And then there's 300.
Yep.
I didn't catch that last one. No, I was trying to figure out what was that? Help me out.
Jeremiah Johnson.
Oh my God. That's
trying to teach her English. Yeah.
That's
Great
right.
hunter. Yes.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, that's right. I was like,
that's all you need to know. For now.
Awesome. For now. Definitely.
Hey folks, I'm really enjoying my show here. I've got Kris Paronto on. Obviously, just Google him. You'll see what the man's been through. If you saw the movie 13 Hours, that was his story on there. He's also got the book 13 Hours, the book The Ranger Way, and as we spoke about earlier, the book The Patriots Creed, which I think is just a great read all the way through. And I think they're available on Audible too, aren't they?
Yeah, everything. And guess whose voice is on those, except for the 13 Hours. That was Mitchell Zukoff, but I read the other two.
Oh, very good.
And it was cool. Same studio. I was honored. I got to record on the same studio Larry the Cable Guy did Mater for Larry. Used to live in Nebraska. Larry lives in Lincoln, but I thought that was like, man, I get to record in the same studio as Mater. That's pretty cool. I don't know, that was cool. That was an
and
honor.
Actually, that is your only claim to fame. So
that is, I'm not famous.
What you're known for. It's what you're known for, Kris.
Well, at least around my house. It is. Tell you my claim to fame. I'm sitting right next to two washers and dryers. If that tells you how famous I am, guys, right here. So.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you've been busy, so you've got the books out. You've got E3. You're doing Battleline training, but you're also doing some podcasts.
Yeah, actually, I have a Battleline podcast. I run it with Ian Scotto, and I was lucky to meet Ian. We were talking beforehand. I was lucky to meet Ian. He was the engineer for Andrew Wilcox show. I love Andrew Wilcox show. Granted, Andrew definitely has a face for radio. I love you, Andrew, but you do, brother. He's tremendous. But working, and then Ian used to run Software Up Radio. And that's where I got to know him very well. And when he left Software Up Radio, it was kind of a no-brainer. He said, hey, do you want to do a podcast? And I said, well, what are we going to call it? He says, well, I got Battleline Tactical. Let's just call it Battleline. He says, I'll do everything. You just come on and talk. Okay, that's pretty easy to me. And it's easy when you have a subject matter expert like Ian, because he knows what he's doing. He does everything. And the podcast, we don't get into politics too much at all. We do get veterans, but it's like the Patriots Creed and the Ranger Way. It's more of overcoming adversity, talking about faith, talking about God, talking about guys that have been through incidences overseas, and then also talking to people that have been through incidents here and how they overcome them and how they get through those obstacles. So that's essentially what the podcast is. And I love it. I love what we're doing, because it really is. It's not divisive. It's not put to be that way. It's essentially talking to people that have overcome a lot in their lives, and I hope gives examples to how to overcome obstacles that people have in their own lives.
What would you say is a common thread with these people who've overcome these horrific things?
Never quit. They never gave up. Never ever. Whatever hit them, they may have knocked them back a little bit, but they always kept moving forward. I think every one of them is always that mindset of, I can't let this beat me. And even in my own life, it may knock you down, but picking yourself up and continue to drive on. I think that's the commonest thing you find in anything. And the majority of them, we do get a few agnostics on every once in a while. It's no problem at all. But the majority of them also have a strong belief in God and faith. They do, in prayer and how that works. And some of them have found it after they got knocked to their knees, like me. Got knocked to my knees, and then I really realized that God's extremely important in my life, and that's what's going to overcome. And then lastly, and you could probably guess, is family. How important family is, and how important having a strong family in your corner is to helping you overcome adversity as well, and someone to talk to. Tell me to get out there and say, hey, I'm having issues. Can you help me? That's also comes up a lot. And we always thought, hey, every one of them had issues down the line where they weren't talking to somebody. They kept things bottled up, and when they finally did, it helped relieve. It was very therapeutic for them. So talking to somebody as well about issues and not letting things bottle up inside.
And so this is Battleline Podcast, right?
Yep. Battleline Podcast. Go ahead.
YouTube channel, Battleline.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Is it Battleline or
and
Battleline Tactical?
Just Battleline Tactical is the tactical company. Battleline Podcast is the podcast. And then that will also flow into the E3 Firearms Association, where we'll be doing podcasts over there as well. And I'm bringing Ian on to help with that. And so we'll be doing the same. Now, we do spend a lot of time. We do, is because I like guns. Ian, of course, he shoots as well. We do get people within the 2A community that we want to come in and talk about firearms as well. And our last guest, Rob Furlong. For those who don't know who Rob is the sniper that set the record in combat. He's the longest shot sniper on record.
The Canadian.
The Canadian, and having him on is tremendous. Just having guys like him on, and there's support for the Second Amendment.
Shoot over the curve of the earth.
I told Rob, like, I don't even see that far. I don't care. What was your optic this big? I mean, was it the NASA scope on the back of your rifle? I can't even see.
You had to have a Charlie Triac because it was like 2,700 yards, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was like 27 or 20. I want to say 28 and change, but
well, at that distance, what difference does it make anyway?
I know. So now we're splitting hairs. I mean, 27. I can't see 27 yards, let alone 2,700.
Well, when so 1750 is a mile. Of course, he's Canadian, so we did it in meters. But 2,700 yards is almost 1.75 miles, something of that nature, right?
That is unbelievable.
And I think he was, well, I think at that point in time, you shoot and they walk into the bullet. But because you've got like a 9-second air flight.
Yeah, right? Flight time of that bullet, of that projectile. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a meal on the flight of that bullet because it had so much time up there. They actually served lunch.
Is that just unbelievable? But that being said, though, with the firearms side of E3 Firearms and Battle, I won't be teaching those courses, but those long range courses, we definitely will have instructors. And hopefully we'll get Rob Furlong into. I don't say hopefully we'll get Rob Furlong in to teach one of those, and you get to meet Rob, and then you also talk to him about just like things like that. Again, you just can't get anywhere else. And that's part of what the experience is.
When these guys start talking about this extreme long range, I think it's Paul Phillips has the longest range for hitting a target. It's like 7,300 yards, something like that. But then you talk about what the max ordnance is, right? The highest flight of that bullet was something in the neighborhood of 1,450 feet.
Isn't that crazy?
So I love to tell people, if you had the Empire State Building and there's 2 glass doors on the bottom, you could look through, you could shoot over the building and hit the target. It's a hard mind game on that. Well, shooting guns, let's start with, what are your favorite firearms?
I still see that sniper stuff never interests me, because I had no interest of coming in and pooping in a bag for 3 days while you're waiting for the target. That never interests me at all. So I like close quarter. I like the urban stuff. I like shorties. I like short barrel rifles and personal defense weapons and PDWs and SBRs. Those are my favorite. Spike's Tactical, honestly, is my favorite company.
Great company.
I love Cole Lelu over there. I love Spike. I think Maxim Defense makes excellent braces for short barrel rifles and also PDWs. But as far as rifles itself is my favorite is Spike's. I think they do an amazing job. And I love, one thing is with these companies, I get to know the people too, and their integrity says a lot of what goes into their products as well. And Spike's has tremendous integrity over there. And so those are my favorite. I like shorty barrels. I like 5.5 inch barrels. I like 8.5 inch barrels. I like 10 inch barrels. When you're starting to get in the long bows, the 16 inches, which I have a Geisley Super Duty. Geisley's another one. Geisley's tremendous. Great weapon systems. I don't know. I want to clear rooms. I want to get close. And even when I was doing anti-piracy work, which was that was awesome. That was fun. Being a contractor on a ship after Captain Phillips was attacked and floating around the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. We had all the guys wanted to be up on the top with the 308 or whatever. I'm like, give me that Mossberg. I'm going to be on the deck. And that was where I wanted to be. So that's just my mindset. I just love being in the mix and carrying those little, and they're a lot lighter too. They're a heck of a lot lighter. So that doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Doesn't hurt. So in California, the short barreled option's off the table, right? Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You can't get it. They consider that an assault weapon, and even the AR pistols, they consider that an assault weapon. They consider any pistol that has a barrel shroud, which would be any AR, unless you want to grab the gas tube with your hand. Just strap your
Don't
hand
do
on the
that,
barrel. Oh, I got a really good
Don't
grip
do
on
that.
it. I can't open my hand, but I've really got a good
It's-
grip on this. Do you smell
I
bacon?
did that.
Do you smell bacon?
I did that with a 240 Bravo, scared crapless as a private at Ranger Battalion as we were assaulting, and I was a 240 gunner, and I couldn't get the gun, and I just grabbed. I remember just fear will make you do crazy things, and I remember my squad leader, he was going to bark at me and start yelling at me, so I grabbed the barrel to run, and I had those old Nomex gloves, and I just seared it to my hands. So yes, you do smell bacon when you grab a hot barrel. I know from experience as well.
Hey, folks, get more stories on the podcast. You can find them on Apple, on YouTube, any of the streaming things. Look for Battleline. I want to thank my very special guest, very special, Kerry Schuck. This is my very special guest, Kris Tanto, Paronto, for joining me. Had a great time. Thank you very much, buddy. All right, we're out.
That's fun, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I appreciate all you've done. And I appreciate the stories that you had the boldness to tell.
Oh,
A lot of guys
no. Well, it's more so, and giving us the opportunity to do this, bro. That's awesome. So, hey, and Phil, could you just let me know? You don't have to go through Lou. Lou, I said Lou works through for E3. If you just want to reach out to me direct at any time, you let me know. I fully support these sort of the grassroots podcasts and radios and stuff, and you just let me know, man. And if I got time in my schedule, I'll come on.
This will be aired on Southern California radio.
Okay.
On Saturday, and then also in Prescott, Arizona. Prescott.
Oh no.
City. So
that's where Bub. Yeah, where Bub went to school. Bub actually went to Embry-Riddle there. I spoke at Embry-Riddle at their NIT 3-4 years ago. I love Prescott, and those bars downtown. Those are still really cool. I like, man, I feel like the old town.
If you ever head down
awesome.
there, one of the interesting things, there's a place called Founding Fathers. One of our sponsors, Grant Quezada, he was a Ranger.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, but anyway, I did like 6 tours, but so many people in that city are from the special forces. It's like you can't throw a rock without hitting a Ranger somewhere. It's kind of damn ridiculous. It's like
why is that? Is there a reason why? I don't know. I've heard that too.
Because I just think it's because there's a mentality in that city that people are patriotic. It's not in the valley, so it's not 127 degrees. You know, it's your mile high.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's true.
There is whiskey.
There's plenty of it. Yeah,
exactly. So there really is a huge community of guys who ex-military and really a lot of special forces people. It's kind of interesting.
Well, they have their veterans hospital there. It's actually pretty neat. It's
a huge one. Fort Whipple's a giant hospital.
Hey, brother, when you've got my cell, so I don't know if you have my email or not. I can shoot it to you.
I have it now. I got it.
You got it. Shoot me the link, and I'll get it posted up on all my stuff too. So
you got it.
And just you reach out if you need anything. If you need books, signed books or something, you don't spend. Just let me know what you need. I'd love to send you one anyways. If you want to send me your address, and if you want one, I would love to send.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Oh man,
actually,
I'm on.
Can I get 2 one I can give away?
Yeah. Just shoot up me a text of what you need, and who you need them personalized to, or if you just want them signed for giveaways. I do that all the time.
Okay.
I've been very blessed. God's blessed me with a lot of stuff, man, and I've gotten more than I ever deserve. So whatever I can get back, I'll do. And you hit me up. You want me on, Dan? You want me on? Even if Phil doesn't, you do. You tell him.
Yeah, we'll get rid of Phil.
But brother, I appreciate it, man. This is awesome. You do a good show. I really do. I don't know. It was therapeutic for me.
If you ever need anything else, just let me know.
I'll hit you up, buddy. Thanks, bro. Buenos nachos. Yeah, Denator.
Good chips.
Good.
Bye.
Awesome. Take care, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Good night.